everybody from my side as well. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to so many IT professionals this morning. In fact, it's a slightly bigger audience that typically listens to what I'm saying. I would like to start talking about Air Berlin a little bit. I'm sure that most people who are from Berlin know us well, and I do hope that most of you people who are not from Berlin actually arrived here on one of our aircrafts yesterday or this morning. We are the second largest airline in Germany, and I leave it up to you to figure out which the largest one is. We have a long history. We were founded in '78 and kind of restructured, reshaped, if you want, by Achim Hunold in the early '90s to be the core of what we have today, which is an airline with about 150 aircrafts, almost as many destinations we're flying to on an almost daily basis. We are moving about 30 million passengers every year. We have more than 8,000, almost 9,000 employees at the time. And we have hubs. Our main hub is obviously here in Berlin, but we have also hubs in Düsseldorf, in Palma de Mallorca, and in Vienna with Flyniki. We are a member of the One World Alliance for you guys who are frequent travelers. Specifically, we have a mileage program, a frequent flyer program, which is top bonus. And we are also a member of the Etihad Airways airline partners. In fact, Etihad, located in Abu Dhabi, is the largest shareholder of Air Berlin with about 29% of our equity. In that group, we have, as you can see, Air Berlin, Etihad Airways, Alitalia, Jet Airways in India, Air Seychelles, Air Serbia, Etihad Regional, and Virgin Australia. So, and we together span more than 250 destinations on 6 continents. So that's quite a big number. Air Berlin has started to move into the cloud. We're doing that on a daily basis with our aircrafts, but we also started to move our IT into the cloud. And as the picture shows quite well, we only started. We are ascending into the cloud. We haven't reached our final flight level yet, and I would like to tell you a little bit about our motivation first. Why did we do that, and what was the reason behind that? The airline industry is a highly competitive industry. We are, as you can see on the slide, the IATA tells us that about 1,700 new aircraft are going to be brought into service this year alone. Overall, about 28,000 aircraft are operated, and in fact, more than one aircraft per second takes off somewhere on this planet around the clock. Cost efficiency is a huge topic for an airline, as you can see as well. The IATA report says the average margin of an airline is about 2.4% of the revenue, and the average retained margin, if you want, per passenger carried is a little more than $5. So that is really slim. So there's a huge cost pressure also on the IT, also on us, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to move. But as important, or strategically even more important, we see a huge shift in terms of digitization in the airline industry. If you book a flight, you book it online. Where do you check in? Online. You go to the airport. In the future, you might not have baggage. If you have it in the future, there might be automatic baggage drop-offs. You walk through security and passport control, but that's not us. You go to the gate, you board yourself, and the only human touch point you have on your whole journey is the flight attendant asking you whether you want tea or coffee. So it's so important for us and for the whole industry that our machine touch points, our computer interfaces you are using are good, they are modern, they are innovative, and provide you with everything you need. Also, a lot of new distribution channels are coming up. Think of Google Flight Search and other options to book flights. You don't even need to go to our website anymore to actually book one of our flights, and that makes it so important that we are flexible, agile, and can move quickly in our market. What did we do? What did we start with? We started with moving our .com presence, which is basically airberlin.com, and for you guys who know our Austrian subsidiary, flyniki.com, plus a lot of subdomains. We had about 200 subdomains. In our original setup, we had 2 data centers. We had a global load balancing solution in place. As I said, about 200 subdomains, 50 service systems, and we all moved that to AWS using the AWS infrastructure platform and technologies in 2 availability zones with the Route 53 load balancing. And behind that, I'm not going to read you all the details of the products, but all the Amazon products we heard from Werner about already. We have a direct connect, MPLS connect to the AWS cloud. That's important for us because we have high requirements in terms of latency and bandwidth. Yeah, and in fact what we see is we see a lot of benefits, first of all in terms of cost reduction, which you can see here, but also in terms of elasticity. When we have marketing activities like our Super Sundays where we have special offers starting from a specific point in time on, that really helps us to scale up as we require. What have we learned from our first steps or from our takeoff, if you want, into the cloud? We learned a lot. First of all, I believe you shouldn't underestimate that journey. It is not about lifting and shifting and just dropping what you have. It's about actually touching your applications, using and leveraging the platform's capabilities as much as you can. So you shouldn't underestimate the technology shift. Second, you shouldn't underestimate the shift in terms of people. You need to educate your people, motivate your people, maybe hire new people. We're actually hiring, not as many as Ralph for AWS, but we're hiring as well in that area. So you need to bring your team on board. You need to bring your applications on board. And also, I would strongly recommend to go with a strong implementation partner. It's unlikely that you have enough skills and people on board who can actually do it on your own. So I recommend to go with a strong partner in that area. Governance, guidelines, very important. If you just let everybody create instances on their own, you're ending up with probably hundreds of instances and cost is going to run away. Script and actually code your infrastructure, because otherwise if people just click through, then it's going to be hard for you to reproduce what you have in the long run. And also implement some cost monitoring so you understand where the cost goes and how it develops. Next steps, we are, as I said, we're just ascending. So what are we going to do in the near future? We already heard about a couple of things which are on this slide, like Aurora. We heard a little bit about Lambda from Werner. We are interested in the container services as well, so that's something we might be looking into. One specific point I would like to draw your attention to is the spot fleet. I think that's actually a great thing, which will help to bring the cost down even further. However, you need to be clear about that you need to touch your architecture and your applications even more to make them ready to use the full capabilities of that product or of that service. And finally, we are considering to move and migrate even more systems. In fact, there's a lot of systems where we could use the elasticity and the scale effect to a certain extent, but also and other capabilities of the platform, specifically BI and analytics is something we're very interested in, not only because Werner talked about it, but that's something we already had discussed for a longer period of time. Our ESB is a potential candidate, huge volume, high availability requirements, so that's really something we are going to investigate in the very, very near future. Yeah, and I basically started explaining what our motivation was to start the journey, and I'd like to close in saying why we want to continue the journey, which is because I really believe that this is the only viable way and the most meaningful way for us to move Air Berlin's IT into the future. Thank you very much.